So we'll call the meeting to order, and we'll start with Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag and to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So, invocation, what is?
Anybody wants to do one.
Yeah.
Normally it does. Why not, Rob? Those kind of things sometimes. You interested in doing that at our meetings or not?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I think Tammy does it for the very end.
Yes, she does, yeah.
Okay.
Just do something short.
Yeah, it'll be short.
Okay.
I'll get with you afterwards and find out what people have done in pilots.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm pretty flexible. Okay. So next
Yeah, I'll be
time.
right out.
All right.
Just hold on. I got to check my camera.
Oh,
Okay.
Amen.
amen.
Amen. There we go.
Here we go. That's a short one to
That's-
start with.
So then, roll call, Paul Reardon here, Mark Bennett,
Yep.
Bill Stearns,
Who's here?
Rob McCullough, David Smith,
there.
Steve Rhodes, Fire Chief, yay. Additions to monthly agenda, do we have any additions? No additions to monthly agenda. All right, so then we have our meeting minutes from July 11th. We have approval of the meeting minutes. Everybody approves, say aye.
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 Do we have to make a motion for that, or we can
Well,
just?
yeah,
just
Mark, you want to make,
Okay.
you making a motion, Mark?
I'm making a motion.
okay.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting minutes approved from July 11th. Okay, financial report.
I deposited or transferred, I should say, $10,000 into our money market account. We wrote checks for $2,873.14. That leaves us a checking balance of $12,274.91. We earned $1.71 in interest. Our money market account is setting at $196,050.67. I'd like to have a motion to pay the bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to pay bills passed. All right, so communications report.
Okay. On the website, we updated the approved minutes, the videos, water calls, treasurer's report, and chief's report. We got all the new names of the new board members were posted. Went through the website, did scan for viruses, any kind of updates. We went through the email, and this is Rob and myself, by the way. Went through emails, tried to get rid of as much spam as we could, blacklisted what we knew to be bad. Backed up the website and the district computer. We had a new credit card number for the fire department. That was updated with our website domain name registry, so that's updated for the next few years. There's no proposed changes. We have a request for suggestions of ideas for improving the website. Should be sent to me, the communications officer. I'm hoping to introduce some new business tonight and try and take a look at that. The fire department 911 dispatchers haven't started for me yet. I haven't received one. I assume we've had calls.
Yeah. It's in the process.
Yeah, I knew it was being worked on, so. I don't know what, we received email newsletters from SDAO, a lot of them. COVID updates. I am yet to really figure out which ones I need to get put where, because they come in like nonstop, multiples a day.
Things changed today.
Yeah. So, we updated the water calls on the website. We did the public notice. Zoom we did not do, from voting for not to do it. Yeah, we updated software on the district computer. That's about it.
I'll make a motion to approve those.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
17, motion passed. Communications report. All right, do we have public comments?
What the hell's all this smoke?
I think it's all coming from Bryan.
And
Something
southwest
like Coquille.
and south, there's a lot, there's fires everywhere, lightning fires.
Make a motion to approve the comments.
Get rid of the smoke.
I second that too.
Turn on the air conditioning.
So no other comments? Okay, so we're on to chief's report.
So, Chief's report, we had, for July, we had 26 calls, we had 6 medical calls, 2 structure fires, 4 motor vehicle accidents, 6 natural cover fires, 8 public safety assists. We're getting a lot of calls for people mowing and that kind of stuff. We're not supposed to be. We had a mutual aid fire in Green, a structure fire, and then we had a barn shed fire in Flowing Valley with about $75,000 damage.
Where was that at, Steve?
Windchime Lane, off of Touchstone.
Off touchstone.
Which one?
Windchime, not Touchstone, Impossible. Windchime Lane off of Impossible.
Oh,
Is that
okay,
at the
off
top?
of Lonely.
Got into their, the guy welding up there, a guy that he hired, got into the shop. Their shop, they do firewood for business, so the firewood all took off, and everything in the shop took off, tractors and 3 tractors. And he had a diesel and fuel and gas tank, the bolt broke the hoses off and got the fuel. It was pretty exciting for a while. A lot of water, we had a lot of timbers and a lot of people. So we also responded to the fire in the Landers fire in Green. That was about 20 acres and had 2 houses that were burnt down. We went with our engine did structure protection 1080, did wildland firefighting with them down there. So. Let's see, training this, we always do a safety vehicle maintenance night first. We did practice cardiac instant responses on that. We've been doing a lot of drivers training up here with the cone course and what our insurance company wants us to do. So Thursday, tomorrow night is the last night of that. We're going to do, after they get through the cone course without hitting cones, and then we take them out on the road and do a driver evaluation of each one of them for people who want that. That qualifies them to drive and move our vehicles, but not to operate them, because to operate them, that's a state certification. Like on a pumper, you gotta be able to suck water out of a tank, and you gotta be able to take water from a hydrant and pump a hose and all this other stuff. So we're teaching them how to drive them safely and move them, and then we'll teach them how to operate. We've got a lot of youngsters coming up now. So.
The concourse is a big deal. That's what she.
That's a pretty standard course that most insurance companies use. There's 2 new OSHA rulings that came in that we have to do policies on. The heat one came in last month. We've already done the training on it. Once it gets over 80 degrees, we have to provide water, shade, rest periods, all this other kind of stuff. Once it gets over 90 degrees, it goes to the next level, and then we had to train everybody on heat injuries and heat symptoms and recognizing heat problems, that kind of stuff. And then what we're going to do to stop that from happening with us. The newest one came in and took effect Monday. They put it in effect before they even told anybody they were doing it. Was the smoke and air advisory, which that works with today. So like today, I think our air advisory here in town, there's a website you can go to for it and is 151, which is unhelpful, of course. So once it goes over 100, now on wildland fires, or if you're out and it's wildland smoke, we're supposed to be providing N95 masks, or else adjusting our work schedule so we don't go outside, that kind of stuff. So we have to go, we're going to do some of that training tomorrow night, just to make sure we have our people running on that. Firefighter training, the young guys are driving, like I said. We've got 3 people just got certified statewide live fire instructor. One of them's a live fire instructor charge, and these are all certifications with the state department's public safety standards and training. And we have another guy that got instructor 1 and 2, and then we have 1 new firefighter, 1 certified. So we've been really pushing on getting those guys going. Let's see. We had a few problems with our equipment this month. The compartment door on 1060's roll-up door, it's still broken. The contractor's supposed to be coming out from General Fire, but they're using him on the fires out in eastern Oregon doing repairs and stuff right now. So he's supposed to be out here within, supposedly August 15th, so that's what, 3 or 4 days. Portable pump that seized up, that's at Maverick Mobile for repair. 1070 and 1080, we did a preventive maintenance for it using Maverick. Had their oil and auto transmission service and fuel filters and everything. 1081, our old brush truck, the master cylinder and the right rear brake brakes in the field, we had that repaired at Chuck Swarm. Because just like everybody else in the world, all the mechanics are busier than me right now. They were just talking about 2 weeks out, and I called them and they said, 8:30 tomorrow morning, okay? And I go, yeah. And they had it done in a day, so I was kidding.
Chuck's a good guy.
Yeah. I've used a bunch of local ones. I've never used them before, but they were very good.
He's a good guy.
We had a couple power failures this month and our generator works, so usually when we get a power failure, I come running down here and see if the generator's working at it. 2 transformers on Lookingglass blue. You were out of town when the first one did it, and then went blue just the other day too.
Is that awesome?
In the bills tonight, the county sheriff's office charges us for the radio dispatch and all that stuff, so we pay those bills quarterly. I'm doing the fiscal year end reports right now for the audit for the state. That's due by the end of September. Workman's comp audit, I sent it back in. That was for last year. We didn't have any injuries, so it was good. SDAO information. I understand some of you guys are getting emails. So that's probably somehow they have your existing email addresses.
Yeah, it's good.
So if you want to look training and stuff, that's cool, but the day-to-day stuff, I mean, you can punch delete unless you find something that's really interesting. For example, the smoke OSHA ruling came through SDAO, our insurance, so it links us to all the videos for training and everything else. And then after we watch them, we do the same thing, we just do it. I registered for risk management training in October 13th. It's a half-a-day class in Cottage Grove. Drive up there, do like 3 hours of classroom on all different topics, and then they feed you lunch and they send you home. So I got for 2, so if anybody wants to go with me.
What day is it?
October 13th, it's like a Wednesday or something. Tuesday or something. There's some other coming up. There's a board training coming up, an 8-hour class. Like I said, it's going on all over the state, but nothing close by to us. And there's a couple virtual ones, but they're during the week and they're like 8 hours. And I can't sit down and watch them for 8 hours. I don't know if anybody can, but usually what they do is they record them and then they'll make a webinar or videos out of them that we can watch at a later date. So I'm going to check on that. It's a really good class. All you guys I set up for the safe personnel training. I think I handed out.
Yeah, I got mine.
I need one more for Mark. Anyway, so if you guys want to go around there and just look around, there is some SDAO training, board training in there. There was 8 videos in there, and right now there's only 1 because they're upgrading them all because of this class they're doing around the state right now that we're refilling. But the one is on, resolutions, motions, and all that kind of stuff. It's about a 20-minute video. It's pretty good if you guys want to watch Anyway, the way that state personnel works is when, like, our insurance company or somebody comes out and says you gotta have a, like last year it was a sexual harassment policy. So then they'll put the training on that, and then I'm the administrator for it, so I assign it to everybody that's on the list. And then when you check in, it goes, here's your class, you can watch it. And then when you watch it, you press a button, you print a certificate, and then it gets us a discount at the end of the year on our insurance policy. So right now, there are no classes that's been assigned to anybody, but you can always go in there and look at past stuff that had happened, so, other classes, so.
Can you take any of those other classes?
Oh yeah, you can take, there's hundreds of classes on everything. OSHA, defensive driving, we use them for, some of the stuff like that, bloodborne pathogens, defensive driving, I don't know, there's everything, slip injuries, falls, ladders, everything. So, I'm working on orientation training for you guys, and then also collecting, updating, and reissuing notebooks. We were talking about that before the meeting, there's a couple of books that are still missing, and we'll get that done. And then we're setting up for September, we're having a regional LPG training fire class here we're gonna host. So we're starting to work on that. The one thing I need, I gave a couple people temporary 6-digit numbers to get into the building. And if you guys just give me your name with a 6-digit number that you would like, we'll program it into a lock so you can come in and get into the building.
Richard's already got mine, I talked
Oh,
about it.
does he? Okay. And if you want to use the I was trying to find something you guys, like I have a 6-digit number that I can remember, so at 3 o'clock in the morning, so. We have some pre-programmed in there that are just random, we can give to you, but then they're not yours, so. If you guys want,
We'll just do that today before we leave.
Yeah.
Let's just everybody come up with a 6-digit number, and that way it can get
and
programmed.
then we'll get it. I think that's it for that. Oh, here's one. I'll talk about that. That's it. I think.
Okay.
Oh, I'll say one more thing about training is, back 2013 or so, we had an entire board turnover. So I made a bunch of information sheets on the fire department, basically. For example, what mutual aid and automatic aid is and how it works in Douglas County. And we did a 25-year plan on replacing units and that kind of thing. So they're just real short 1- and 2-page things, so I might just email those to you guys if you're interested, rather than print them up for everybody. So it'll kind of give you a little bit of orientation on some of the stuff we do.
That'd be good.
But they're just real short ones. A couple of them need to be updated, but the basic premise behind them is all is there. So.
It'd be helpful.
Our next big step is a new fire truck.
Yeah, we keep putting in for grants for that every year. And we'll hope to get that. Anyway, that's about it. I think that's fine.
Okay. So, do we do a motion to pass? We don't have to do that on yours. Okay. I'm still learning. All right, so now we're on to old business. Under old business, we've got the bank signatures, which we talked about. So we're still missing,
I'm still missing, so I'll
Okay.
come in.
and you've done your bank signature?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, you're the only one, so just, it only takes 5 minutes, you just walk in, you fill it out, and you're done.
About 2 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah,
that's about right, about your schedule,
sure.
isn't it? The way you work, I figured about 2 in the morning, you might be free for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
I'll get into this week.
okay. And then board orientation.
I think we touched on it a little bit.
We
We
did,
just try to get some training. If we get those books together and get all the policies in one place, then you guys can go through that kind of stuff. If there's something specific, you guys, I think the local government thing, the special district government training that they present, once it comes back up in about a month or so, that's probably the best way to get used to running these meetings and how it all works and everything else. But if you guys have anything you want to know about it, or most of you guys are on the budget committee, so you already saw that. So there's things, the workman's comp, our insurance company, that kind of stuff, we can just talk about it for 5 minutes each month or something like that. So I think that's how we did it a long time ago. Rather than do it all at once, we just kind of did it over the year.
Anything else on board orientation? I kind of think I'd like to take that 8-hour class, actually. That one you're talking about, I think I might actually kick the drive and go do
Virtual or
that.
something, I can register for it.
Yeah, I think I would
There's
like
two
to do
of
that.
them, one's September 13th or 12th, and I can look it up, it's on SDA.
Yeah, I'll go check it out. I think I'm gonna do that. Fiduciary policy, contract employees. What is that one about?
I drew a blank on that, we were talking about that last month.
It was
Yeah.
about the Archie Creek fire and paying the volunteer firefighters for some of their time.
So if we get reimbursed from the state for them being out there, that we were going to discuss giving them that money.
And I think, Jerry said you might want to update the fiduciary policy
I
about
think,
that.
I think we have, what we've done in the past is we've done that on 2 different fires now. The state reimburses us for the units and equipment, and they reimburse us per hour for the employees. And so usually what happens is when we go out, we become contracted employees. That's the only way they can pay us, because we're
Right.
volunteers. And then what we've done is do that, and then any money that comes back for the units, the vehicles, or the equipment goes to the department for the maintenance and whatever else. It usually goes back in the general fund. And usually that's more than what, like for Archie Creek, we got $11,000, $4,000 of it was for the people, and $7,000 was the units, so.
And usually by the time we get paid, it's just before Christmas time. So the last 2 or 3 fires, the board had just automatically paid the firemen to go out. And it's kind of nice at Christmas time, they get a little extra money for Christmas. And legally, we can pocket it, but we just don't think it's right.
But we have to do some kind of an updated,
Well, I don't know, do we have to do an update on that, or is it already in the?
I think our insurance company wanted us to say something in our fiduciary policy, then we could do that. Treat us as contracted.
Are you just taking everybody in 1099 them then, or are you?
Yeah, if it's over,
Over the money.
900 or 600, whichever. And that, it's rare that it happens, it's only for conflagrations, so that's, we'll go out, if we go out on mutual aid, like we went out to that jam fire last month, we were only out there for 24 hours, so it doesn't count. So once it goes to conflagration, you go longer than 24 hours, actually, it could be up to 36 hours, but then they'll start paying you after that. And that's only happened twice in the last 8 years maybe, but it seems like it's happened more
Lately.
So,
it's getting drier.
so I guess as part of the policy thing, the fiduciary and the bylaws and that, again, I think if we get the books together and get that stuff updated, then we can start, just read them and see what we got. There are some updates that need to be done and all that stuff, I think. There's some-
When we do the updates on the books, is that something that we have to do during a meeting to say, we're taking this out, we're adding that? Or is that something that we can just kind of, somebody can go through and say, this is old, that's old?
If we change the policies, we're gonna have to
Changing
go
the book.
through a meeting and everything.
Changing the
going on.
book and putting things in there isn't necessarily going to change the policy.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
So-
cleaning it out though, is no big deal, but if we're gonna change a policy in the book, then it has to go, yeah.
Changing the policies is a 2-meeting, you gotta write it and read it at a meeting, and then read it again at a second meeting.
And vote on
Okay.
Is the book you're talking about the district office manual?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it has all the different policies in it, everything we've done.
Can they get a
Alright.
copy of all the district policies in the book? Their book, do they get a copy of all the district policies?
They used to have them when we first started. The only place I know where they all are now, right now, is either on it might be on the website, and they're in a red notebook in the office. And he looks like he has some in his book.
Yeah, I have some in here.
That was
including the
Jerry's
name of
book, so
district
he-
ops manual,
Yeah.
I'm responsible for maintaining it.
Oh, okay.
That's what it says,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, you are.
in conjunction with the fire chief, so sorry.
Okay,
You're not
that's
fine.
fine. So I know that the whole one with all the newer policies we've had in the last couple of years is sitting in there on the counter above the computer. It's in a red notebook, and we could certainly
Copy and update.
make sure we have that in everybody's personal notebook, and then go from there and start updating in conjunction with the CO officer, right?
Yep.
I'd love to. Need something to do this winter.
There we go. All right, so I think that's it on the policies. So we're on to new business, board trainings. Like I said, I think I'd like to do that 8-hour class.
Okay. So if you,
And that's good for the insurance policy.
yeah, and it gives, that class is about local governance and how to.
Just how to run these
how to
meetings,
run a-
the
how to
right
run
way,
everything.
what you're gonna actually nominate or. Yeah.
So I can, what really needs to happen, you guys are getting the stuff from SDO now, you can actually go and log into the SDO's website, and
Just-
then you have access to all that training.
Yeah.
And you can go in and register. Because we're so small, usually the first 1 or 2 people that register, they'll charge like $50 for a class, but we'll get, like the one for October. If I register fast, then they give it to us for free, so.
If it helps the department.
Yeah, okay, so I'll get the dates, for that, and I'll send you guys a slip if you want. There's a couple different virtual options, unless you wanna go to Brookings for the day, or, what was the closest one? There's Brookings, there's one in Bend, one in Salem. Nothing was here in South Haven, so, except for.
Where's Brookings?
Coast
Right,
Guard.
right.
The Oregon coast.
Oregon, California.
Yeah, 27
I
miles
can
from.
bring our dirt bike. Make a weekend out of it. Okay.
So, I'll get those out to you if you guys wanna start.
Okay. All right, so we'll work on board trainings, vehicle repairs, you talked
I
about.
covered that, we
Yeah.
had a few issues this month, so.
Board notebooks, we've also talked about board notebooks, getting those together. Do you think we can have those for the next meeting, or, you said that my book is somewhere, right, packed in a,
Well, the
because of the
president
school.
was,
Rob,
he was over at the, he works over at Douglas High School.
right, and then you got
Packed.
packed in a box or
They
something.
moved his office, it was packed, and it's supposed to come out in the middle of August, so.
Yeah,
I think by next meeting we could have it.
okay.
And then the secretary one, I think Candace still has it, or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you get yours from Alan? Vice President, so, it was here somewhere. I'll have to find it. He brought his in. Okay, so next meeting, well, at least we'll have them all together.
Okay.
So the next thing on the list is president's report. I don't really have anything to report.
Okay, kind of, because
Yeah.
they wanted to have some new business tonight.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
yeah, and I'll shoot one right off of board notebooks and resources. I would like to request that we do an evaluation of what our responsibilities are. My own selfish needs are, I would like to know what is required of our communication, what the public wants, what we can provide and all that. Right now, it seems a little mishmashy, and I'd like to get some kind of clarification of that. I don't know exactly where all to go, maybe in the red book you're talking about. I was reading these policies in here, it's very nondescript.
They kind of cut and pasted from other places by the board previously. A place to go would be, SDAO, like, member services up there. George Dunkel is the guy that does that. You could call him and talk to him about it. For example, what I would suggest, and I haven't even done it really, is go through our website from top to bottom and see all the stuff that's really on there. Because I came down the day that Jerry was showing David how to do that, and it's next door, what's that? WordPress, it's WordPress.
Yeah, WordPress.
So they have a lot of standard stuff in it, but he is he coded it all custom himself. So when, to say we want to put the minutes on our website, you don't just put the minutes on the website, it was a half an hour deal per thing. So,
Very, very not user friendly, so I'd like to make it my own chore to, like to start with, get a clear definition of what we need. Cross that with what the public would like to see, and see if there's something we need to add or take away, whatever. And I can organize that, make it transferable to my replacement and things of that nature. It should be easily transferable and easily done. It shouldn't be a job in itself. It doesn't seem like that's warranted, and right now it is.
a lot of the stuff on there was done as a reaction to, overreaction to transparency probably back then, because I know, like we were talking before the meeting about blog call, we have probably 10 or 12 years of our incidents on there, and so do we need to have 12 years of our incidents? If you want to compare year to year, we could have a couple of years on there or something, or not even, or just have this year's on there, and if we want to do an analysis of how many, when I do my year-end report, we talk about it every year, how it's going up and down. But that's something like it's become a library almost of past documents, and a lot of that stuff, the state has requirements on how long certain things got to be kept, and we're way beyond that on most of the stuff on the website, for example.
Yeah, and what worries me is it's in such a fragile state right now. And I know in this day and age, we should be able to have input forms and stuff where it's just chunk. We could get the data in there as it sits right now. One false move and all that data is gone. You know, it's literally code. And yeah, to me, it's just too fragile. Much less trying to learn how to do it. You know, but.
There's an easier way.
Oh, I know there is.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole, yeah, and we don't need to get into all the little fine things right now, but you know, like WordPress is designed for idiots to type in, and it does the code. Right now, we're doing it the other direction, and there very well could be a reason for it. You know, I'm not.
Updating a website shouldn't be that, and putting documents on a website shouldn't be that labor intensive.
And when I'm wondering, I think there's stuff on there nobody ever is even utilizing. They're not looking at it. It's
Well,
wrong venue,
even in
unneeded.
a Zoom meeting, I don't think anybody, you know.
The community is just not as involved, is what you're saying.
Well, we're recording right now to be put on YouTube.
Right.
Okay, search us on YouTube. You cannot find that. It doesn't even pop up. What pops up is the YouTube from 10 years ago.
You have to actually put in the date.
Yeah, so is anybody watching that? I haven't been able to get on it to see if there's any views.
There's 8.
Is it on the web page?
You, 8 times?
No, I only go on there once and I do the minutes of it.
Is it on the web page?
It's on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think we have a subscription because actually this last time I was on there, I actually subscribed to the Lookingglass Global Fire Report. But there's about, I think, 20 people that are subscribed. And there's 8 views on this video from last month.
Well, a couple of them I think are admin. Yeah, so. Anyway, I would just like to know, when I took on this position, I don't mind doing it. I just think I would like to get a clear definition of what we need to do and.
Definitely redefine.
I think SEO up there, George, or else somebody up there, that'd be a great resource. And also on SDAO, Small District Association, as a benefit of being in, which we are, and we paying for insurance, is that they have a company called Streamlight, I think, that does web pages for small districts. And I'm not sure on the price or anything, or if they're just helping, or it's not WordPress, it's a different platform or whatever. But
What was
we
the
might
guy's
go,
name?
I think it's called Streamlight. Well, his name is Dunkel, D-U-N-K-E-L, George Dunkel. So I was gonna just check in on that one too. About 6 months ago, they started offering that website to small districts and stuff. So. I don't know if you guys have ever gone on ours. It's huge. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff everywhere.
Yeah,
And I don't know if it, to me, it's not the most user-friendly one, but it took a lot of work to set up, and everything's there. Anyway, there are some alternatives, if that's what we want to do.
are there links on our website to the
Meeting?
to the meetings?
There are videos.
Or to YouTube link to the meetings?
I think there is.
No. I had to go.
I'll have do that.
I went out to the website and tried to find it the first time I did, and ended up having to go. I think I'd asked somebody, where are our videos?
So that might be a nice, just have a link right on the Lookingglass Fire website that will
You
take you
can,
straight
there's
to
links to all the
meetings.
minutes and everything, and I found all those, but I couldn't find her.
Okay, so that would be helpful. Just put the link for that on there.
But he's right about what needs to be out there, what do people actually, this probably needs to be out there still, where they can see the meeting if they don't come, but the minutes. Only a couple years worth of calls, because, 10 years ago.
Well, before YouTube, if you weren't there, you didn't attend.
Right.
So, I mean, where did it become now? This is not criticism of our current society. I would say, where is that defining line now? You know,
I think this is the transparency thing, wasn't it? To make sure that everybody can see what's going on at the fire department.
There's a lot of things we do that aren't legally required, like posting for the meetings. You don't have to do next door Lookingglass, but that was a way to reach local people. All we have to do is post it in the window at the station. We used to post it at the store in their window.
In the news review, right?
Well, that, we don't even have to, don't have to post it in the newspaper, but the insurance company likes us to, just because it's kind of the proper thing to do. I mean, that's, supposedly you reach more people that way, but how many people
Read.
Yeah, people don't read the newspaper anymore.
Yeah, and then so they have, we talked about that before, was they have the one thing that talks about occurrences, and that's not a legal notification, because they sometimes don't get everything that you submit into that, like when they're doing stuff about community events and stuff. So we always put it into the legals and classifieds. Well, nobody ever sees those,
you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
It's right on the budget, so.
And so then we end up with a copy of them, so when I do our reports for the Secretary of State or something, I got it, but nobody ever is looking, and see what it says. So the only time we have to do it for newspapers is if we're doing a resolution or changing the policies and that, then we'll have to put it in legally.
We have to do it for the budget
In
committee.
the
though.
budget committee, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Alright. Well, I think I'm with you on learning our jobs. So I'm not really sure what to do either. I came and met with Steve a couple days ago to do the same thing. Is there any other new business? Anything else? No? All right. Shall we move on? Okay. So the next one on the list would be President's Report. Like I said, I don't have anything to report. I'm still learning my job also. So we can go on to Director's Report. Do we have a Director's Report? No? Okay. Additional board comments, members' comments? So then we're on to public comments if nobody has anything, but I'm going to stop here at the additional board member comments. And Steve, you and I were talking about the fire trucks and equipments and trying to get those. And what you were telling me is that basically if we apply for a grant every year, we may not get it this year, we may not get it next year, but at some point we're going to need to look at getting a new fire truck. The equipment is getting older, it still runs, it's in good shape, but if we don't get an approved grant, it's how many years before we can get a truck? Can you break that down the way you were explaining it to me?
That's one of the information sheets I made. I'll have to get that to you guys. So we did this 25-year plan on how to keep replacing stuff at intervals, as service life, or there's standards too that we're supposed to meet. But like for example, only has 20,000 miles on it, but it's 28 years old. By NFPA, National Fire Protection Standard, at 25 years, they're supposed to be retired, because what's happened is during that 25 years, there's been all kinds of safety improvements. They use poly tanks instead of steel now, so they don't rust away out there in your garage, and you can make all the waters on the ground, stuff like that. And construction of the cab is safer now. Seat belts, junk like that wasn't here back in the 90s on fire trucks. So there's different ways to do it. There's we keep going for the grants, but there's bond measures. Back in 2005, we did what they call the operations levy. We cannot change our tax rate to raise funds, but we did a 5-year levy where our tax rate, it actually went, it was 50 cents per thousand now. They went up $1.05 per thousand, so it was $1.55 per thousand for 5 years. And so 50 cents a thousand, like what we do right now, this year raises about $70,000. So if you did a temporary, you can do an operational levy for 5 years. If we took it to say we did additional 50 cents a year, you would raise $350,000 over 5 years. So, and that goes for a fixed amount of time. You have to identify what you're raising for and all that kind of stuff. The only thing about that is when you do it, you got to do petitions and stuff, and then write the levy and get it going, and then it goes into the next election, which is where are we now, August? It'd be next May, and then it takes effect the next fiscal year after that, and then your taxes don't start coming until the November after that, so you're about 2 years out before you even start, and then you got 5 years of collection. So then
you're
talking about a $350,000 engine by that time costs $500,000. So it's just something, but that's the process. That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
So when we did that before, it went from 2005 to 2010. That was before my time. Raised back then, that would have raised about $100,000 a year. They raised $500,000. We got a grant at the same time, so we were able to replace pretty much everything in the barn except the oldest timber out there. And that was lucky. So that you can do that, and or you can do a bond just for one certain piece of equipment, and pay it back that way. So
It's hard to get people to pay more taxes.
yeah, and
No,
I understand that.
And I don't want to pay more
Yeah.
taxes.
Last couple of years, there's been a lot of them passed that they weren't passing for a lot of years, but anyway, I got to update that one, and then we can talk about things we're doing in the future. We keep on putting in for grants. We don't have to buy new stuff, but if you get a FEMA grant, you have to buy new. You can't buy used. If we did a bond, in fact, that's what we did. Op levy we did. The first $90,000 you raised in about a year and a half, they bought the red fire engine down the end. It was cost $90,000. It was 92 back then, so it was probably 10, 15 years old. A new one would have cost $300,000. And we got, if you advertise it out, we've got our money's worth out of that thing over the years for sure. But so that's an option too. If whether you're just raising cash and buying used, or you're going for FEMA and buying new, or whatever. So.
And the other option is, getting, a good grant writer. Which was the other option is you might. Who are you using to write grants right now?
So we write our own grants mostly, but
You're looking at it.
we have a guy who wrote for the vehicle 2 years ago. He wrote one, and he's a firefighter down in Arizona, and that's what he does from the side. And he only charged $400 per grant. We got the SCBA side of it. We never got the vehicle. Last year he got the SCBA's 10 mile. I referred him over to them. District 2 is using a guy who does it on commission. If you get the grant, then he gets paid, and if you don't. So I'm kind of looking at that guy, and he's been very successful. Because that FEMA will let you go up to 10% of the value of the grant for a grant writer. So if you're writing it for a $500,000 engine, and he gets 10% of that, it takes your grant up to $550,000, but he's getting $50,000. But he's been very successful at it too.
But then we don't have to raise taxes. We don't have to
Right.
burden the community, and we can actually get. that might be
So I'm
something.
kind of looking that way. The other day, we met a guy that's retired District 2 guy that's writing grants up in Oregon, Washington now, and he charges $2,000 to write FEMA grants, and that's up front, so.
How's his
He's
percentage?
been pretty successful too, not vehicles with PPE, SCBA's and stuff, but almost everybody's getting SCBA's and stuff, it's, the vehicles are part of it.
Yeah.
So between now, this is all gonna start moving in about November is when FEMA starts opening up all the grants again, so we're working on those two people, the guy from District 2 and then also the guy that we just met. Just getting some ideas on bids and what they've been doing in the process. I like the deal of the commission thing, that sounds really good to me.
It sounds
We
like,
pay if we get the money.
well, yeah, and it seems like he's got a big incentive to
Right.
really write a nice grant too, because he can really make, he can make a nice commission.
And when those guys do that, it's almost a cookie cutter thing. I think he's based in Seattle or something, but like if he writes an engine, everybody right now wants a wildland urban interface engine, a regular fire engine that's got some off-road capabilities, four-wheel drive, short abilities. Well, if we want one, there's 10 other people that want one too, so he can write 10 of those with the same grant. Just all you do is change the demographics for each individual department, and shoot, man, if he gets half of those, it's 250 grand plus, everybody gets an engine. So.
Yeah, I'm in the wrong business.
The guy we used before he was on the FEMA. Some of the firefighters, we had a couple guys in our department. They're actually on the FEMA board and the review board when they review grants. So the guy that we were using with the SCBA's, he was on that. So they know the words to use and all that kind of stuff. But then he wasn't. When we went to the vehicles, he wasn't very successful. So, so anyway, I am going to approach the guy. I think it's called something ballistics. I'm going to approach him about a vehicle on this year. And when I budget for grants, I budget the grant writing into it as our matching part of it. And because we're a small department, our match, like on the engine we're looking at right now is $410,000. So we usually owe 5% of that, 3 to 5% to match. So that's not too bad.
Yeah.
And, I budget that match grant in plus either paying somebody, like I'll budget up to $2,000 to pay somebody, but if he does it on commission, then we won't have to spend it on this. Anyway.
I thought that was interesting when we talked about it. I thought maybe these guys might like, the same thing, because it's definitely at some point buying that expensive equipment. If it's 7 years to get the money, is one option, and if you never get the grant and you apply year after year after year, at some point you're going to be in a pinch where now you need the equipment and you're going to be 7 more years before you can get it and buy it outright. So it's something to think about. I thought that was interesting.
Our budget, as long as we're volunteer, we can meet maintenance and all that stuff, as long as we get grants and all that stuff. But as far as buying a major, like our SCBA's, we couldn't come up with $120 grand.
Right.
Buy something without having some sort of.
We got a grant for that brush rig, didn't we?
That was the end of that money was the end of the grant from 2010. I kept that in the savings account. That was the previous board wanted to spend that stuff on all kinds of junk. Not junk, but their choice. That stuff that wasn't related to vehicles or PPE, and that's our assets are the vehicles here. I mean, this station's an asset, but we didn't pay for it. The county gave it to us, and we have to maintain it. But the vehicles are our assets, and the PPE, the equipment, is our assets. That's all we have. So I try to keep the money going that way.
Yeah.
We got to keep them up so they'll last.
Okay.
Public comments, if we changed it, I like to put up stuff on the website about explorers and stuff like that, recruiting and stuff. And for future, something that, because that's how my son
a second. My next door neighbor is a fireman over in Bend, Sisters, and that's what he does. He has I don't know, he gets paid to get volunteers. And he mentioned to me that,
That was the grant that we're talking about putting in for that.
yeah, so is that still available?
Yeah, it's a safer grant, so that's one of the grants we're talking about putting in for this fall.
Because they pay someone, a grant pays someone to go out and get volunteers and train and,
So we're talking about putting it in jointly with us, 10 Mile and Camas together and doing a regional thing. The regional ones have better success. And there's a lot of other issues in there. They'll pay for turnouts for the new employees. They pay for physicals. Some of them will pay for stipends, like $10 to come to training night or something like that. So there's all kinds of things that can be written into the grant. So that's one thing we're looking into right now is researching that one. There's a lot of they issue a notice of funding opportunity for each grant, so that one's about 165 pages or something. So you got to read through that to figure out what you qualify for and then what you can get and that kind of stuff. So it's really great that it's free money, but you got it. It's become now like these grant writers. Used to be you could just write out a grant, and now you have to almost pay somebody to write the grant for you.
So my next venture in education would be
Grant
grant
There's courses.
But no, and I'm great online, so sit at home and.
Do them by commission only. 10%. So that was your public comment. Do we have any other public comments? If not, then I think we are nearing the end here. Our next meeting will be September 8th, 2021, 7 p.m. If there's nothing else, then I think we can adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I second.
All right? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, meeting adjourned.
Wow, that's almost. Oh, wait, let me turn that.